FM. And as usual, every Tuesday we are having a special interview focusing on environmental issue. And today on Traxx EcoBuzz, special focus on post-budget 2018. And due to that, I have Mr. Amlir Ayat from Malaysia Water Partnership, MyWP Water Security Seminar Organizing Committee, and Vice President of EcoKnights. Welcome to the studio, Mr. Amlir.
Thank you, Balkis.
All right, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. All right.
Great.
So yes, talking about post-budget 2018 and focusing on water management and flood mitigation. But before that, maybe you could share with us, tell us more about Malaysia Water Partnership, like especially the role and responsibility in this water services industry.
Okay, Malaysian Water Partnership is an NGO which focuses on water management, sustainable water management, and specifically on the integrated water resources management, meaning we are promoting the use and management of water in an integrated and sustainable manner. So basically we are focusing on management of water using various approaches, engineering or technical approaches, enforcement, education, capacity building, and also economic approaches. So all these approaches we believe would be, if they are combined together and combined holistically, would be able to solve a lot of water problems in Malaysia. This is because for a long time, Malaysia has been using a very fragmented approach towards solving water issues, when the reality is that water management is connected to all aspects of life, and we cannot approach water management from one specific angle. Everything is interconnected, so we have to solve or manage our water resources in an integrated and holistic manner.
I see, integrated and holistic manner.
Yes.
And Mr. Amlir, I know you're like the main person of MyWP, so maybe you could share with us what do you actually do at Malaysia Water Partnership?
Well, I'm not really the
You're like the backbone, okay?
No, really. We have a team, and there are a lot of other people who we have contributed to MyWP, and they have been working very hard, and I would like to thank them. But one of my roles have been in the more towards the capacity building and also education part. So I focus normally on the education, whether in the formal or non-formal sector, to the communities and also to the school children. So this is our focus, because we believe that education is very important. It's an investment, a very long-term investment. We can solve a lot of problems using technical or legal or economic approaches, but no approaches can beat the education approach, where you actually train the people, make them aware of the problems, and make them more informed, so that they'll be able to decide based on this process. This is what we call the informed decision-making process, where we believe that if people have information, then they'll be able to get or to make the right decisions. As we all know, information is power.
Exactly.
So if you have information, if you have enough information, you can make the right decision. And I strongly believe in this. And it is the most powerful tool in achieving sustainable development.
I see. Okay. But before that, we know that water is the basic supply for everyone. But is it true that today, in the world today, we are facing insufficient water supply? Is that really true?
We have enough water. In fact, we have more than we need.
I see.
The problem is that we use water inefficiently. For example,
the usage.
Yes,
okay.
the usage. It's not the amount of water. We have enough water. I mean, look at Malaysia. We have floods. What does that tell you? We have a lot of water, excess water. But the way we use water. For example, let me give you just a brief on the water consumption in Malaysia. Now, WHO, or the World Health Organization, says that the average amount of water required for every person to survive is about 200 liters.
Okay.
In Malaysia, the average water consumption per person per day, or what we term as per capita, per person per day, is about 300 liters.
I see.
Which is a lot.
Yes.
So this is the amount of water that we are using, causing other problems. When you use a lot of water, that means you are taking a big chunk of that portion of water causing problems in other areas. So imagine if we can reduce our consumption, use our water efficiently, wisely, then every person should be able to contribute excess water, and we may not have to ration our water. We may have excess water, and this is what's happening in other countries. For example, you look at the Middle East, Australia, Japan, they don't have rainfall like we do. We have like 3,000 millimeters of rainfall every year. All year long. In other countries, not even 1,000. But still, they do not have problems like us. Why? Because in the process of education, they have made people aware of the importance of water and how we can use water efficiently. This is one thing we are missing in Malaysia. We do not take care of our water resources. We think that since we have a lot of water, we can use no matter how much water we want to use. See, this is a very, very wrong perspective of water efficiency. Yes.
Okay.
So, like I said, education is very important.
Yes, and this is where MyWP comes into the picture to educate the public to use water efficiently.
Yes.
Okay. And then, all right, so recently last Friday, the budget 2018 has been announced by our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib bin Tun Abdul Razak. So maybe you could share with us your views or your reaction on the newly announced budget 2018.
Okay, from what I see, the figures are quite general for me because I cannot really comment on the figures because I don't have the breakdown or the details of the figures. From what I see is that there are new focuses on environments. We have, of course, increased budget for flood mitigation since we have a quite critical problem, increasing problem in terms of flood mitigation. Secondly, there is a new mention on non-revenue water.
Okay.
I think there is about 1.4 billion RM allocated for non-revenue water. Now, for the benefit of the listeners, I would like to explain what is non-revenue water. Non-revenue water is the amount of water lost during its delivery from the water supplier to the customers.
I see. Okay.
For example, if you have 1,000 liters delivered to the customers from the water treatment plant to the customers, and along the way you have, let's say, 100 liters lost, that is 100 liters out of 1,000 liters, which equals to 10%.
Yeah, 10%.
The NRW, or the non-revenue water, is 10%. Now, in Malaysia, the figure differs. The figures differ among states. For example, Selangor is about, the NRW or the non-revenue water is about 30 to 35%. That means they send 1,000 liters to the customers, 300 liters are gone, are lost along the way.
Yep.
In some states it's higher. For example, Perlis is about 60%.
Oh.
In Pahang, about 50%. This is a big loss. Now, why is this loss? There are two main problems. One, leakages, and the other one could be water thefts. There are people who steal the water, and leakages, which reflects the condition of some of the pipes along the way. So this is the amount of budget, 1.4 billion required, allocated to deal with this problem, which is not really enough.
Not really enough.
Not enough, because we have about 50,000, maybe more, 50,000 kilometers of water pipe network in the entire country. And in 2014, it is estimated that in order for us to replace a lot of these old pipes, you need about 11 billion ringgit Malaysia. And now it is already 2017, and I assume that the figure might have increased due to the cost and also the length of the pipe network. So that is on the NRW.
Okay.
And
but talking about NRW, I heard that Malaysia, our country, targets an NRW reduction of 25% by 2020. So with this allocation of 1.4 billion for next year, will this be enough to achieve 25% of reduction by 2020?
I don't think so, because there are a lot of things which we have to reconsider in this issue. First, we have to take a look at the maintenance cost. It's not just repairing or replacing these pipes. It's also about maintaining the cost, and also and this cost is huge. This cost is need to be borne by the state. Even though there is an allocation by the federal government to the state has to repay this amount to the federal. Okay, this money is being given through the custodian of the National Water Asset, or PAAB, and delivered or contributed or distributed amongst the states. And the state have to repay. And this amount to be repaid is huge. With the cost or with the water tariff that we have right now, it's difficult for the water suppliers at every state to repay the government. So there is a need, for me, there is a need for us to review the water tariff. In Malaysia, reviewing or increasing water tariff is a very sensitive issue. It could be a political issue, but it needs to be reviewed. Otherwise, we have to look carefully and prudently into other areas. For example, education. Education is a long-term thing, and in the meantime, to achieve or to reach a level where people can actually use or manage water sufficiently is going to take a long time, maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years. That is from our lessons, from the lesson that we have learned from other countries. But this is a very serious issue because we are losing a lot. 30% out of out of millions and millions of liters of water being distributed amongst the customers is a big loss. So there need to be a very, very integrated approach towards solving this problem.
But I think by this 1.4 billion allocation, it's like a positive move actually in terms of solving the problem that is currently exists.
Yes,
and
I
I
agree.
think it is responsible for all of us, the public, especially us, on how we use water efficiently.
Yes, I believe that 1.4 billion can be used efficiently, and also it could be topped up with other efforts or other approaches using other sectors. Other sectors, I believe, would have their own allocation, and we should focus on the allocation already given to other sectors to solve this problem. We cannot simply say that, excuse me, we cannot simply say that 1.4 billion is just for that. We can only solve this issue with this amount of money. No, we can solve this problem using budgets from other allocations. For example, through education. Infrastructural budget. When I went through the budget, there are also other allocation required for infrastructure. So this amount of budget can be used to achieve sustainable, efficient water management.
I see. Okay.
The other things that related to that is the allocation on what is termed as sustainable development in the budget. Now, sustainable development is seen from, for me, it's quite a narrow perspective. Sustainable development or sustainability is a very, very big issue. It's not just about flood mitigation or non-revenue water or anything which is very, very narrow. It encompasses the entire aspect of life, social and economy. So even when you talk about infrastructure or wildlife, or talk about education, it's all about sustainability. It all has relation to sustainability. And I can understand this because for a long time we have been taught, or we have been so-called brainwashed to see sustainable development or environment as something separate. We separate environment from social and from economy.
It should be together.
It should be together.
And combined.
Environment is for the well-being of the social. So you cannot see social and environment as two separate things. They are all under. Why do we need environment? To improve social being. In fact, if you ask me strictly, how do I see economy? Even economy should be under social. Why? Social encompasses education, infrastructure, healthcare, and whatnot. So why do we need good economy? To improve our social. So at the end of the day, environmental issues or economic issues are actually social issues. So at the end of the day, sustainable development is about the well-being of social, our society and our social aspects.
And again, environment is the extension of our home, isn't it?
Yes, correct. It is our home. That is all what we have. If we destroy the environment, that's it for us. Even though we have a lot of money, But then if our environment is bad, then we cannot eat money.
And it's also the benefit for our future generation as
Correct.
well.
Yes, correct.
I see. And then talking about sustainable development, talking about sustainable living, how to live sustainably. Under the newly announced Budget 2018, Green Technology Financing Scheme is allocated, which is to promote investment in green technology industry, about 5 billion ringgit. Maybe you could give us your comment on that, on green tech.
Okay, this is an increase from 3.5 billion for the period of 5 years before this. The Green Technology Financing Scheme, or GTFS, is managed by the Green Technology Corporation under KETA, or the Ministry of Green Technology. So this scheme is aimed at promoting the manufacturing or the utilization of green technology among the industries, among the private sectors. So this 5 billion ringgit is an increase about 1.5 billion from the previous 5-year period. This is for another five-year period. There has been an increase in the awareness of the various industries in practicing green technology. This amount is important because green technology is something which is very new in Malaysia. When something is very new, it often is more expensive. So with this allocation, we hope that green technology will be much cheaper in the future and much more practical to be practiced, not only in industries or government premises, but also in communities. We have a lot of new good ideas, we have a lot of good innovation which can be translated into daily practical things. But a lot of these products or services do not have enough allocation. So we hope this would enable us to apply the green technologies even at the community levels or household levels. I believe that if we practice green technology might not be the solution for all problems. In fact, it is not the solution, because what the solution is our attitude. If you have a green technology or the so-called green technology is still, you need some good definition for that.
Okay.
But still, you know, if we know how to use green technology, even the simplest one, it will be much more efficient than something which is more expensive, bigger, but not really giving you a significant or tangible benefit in terms of the environment or the future well-being of the society. So I hope that this increased allocation on green technology will achieve a much better reduction in environmental degradation. We hope that it will improve the practice of green technology in household levels or community levels, not just in industries, even though at this moment the amount might be more seen as something for the industries. And I also hope that in relation to that, we hope we will be able to increase more focus on research and development, R&D, on green technology. This is something which is very important. And we have about 400 million ringgit allocated for R&D under this budget, and we hope that this budget this amount will enable a lot of researchers who are interested in green technology, you know, in helping the country to achieve sustainable development.
I see, sustainable development again. But talking about green technology, yes, it is something new to us, something new to me as well. But I'm just wondering, can we actually use green tech at home on a day-to-day basis? Is that possible?
Yeah, green tech is something which is not, it's not really rocket science. If you look at houses in the villages, 50 or 30, or even right now, I think you can see houses, in the villages using rainwater harvesting. Is something that they have done for a long time, where they collect water to be used
again.
The rainwater to be used again, and this is technology. Technology is anything that you apply to improve your efficiency in doing something. Technology need not be something which is expensive or manufactured in a big factory. It is anything. A pencil is a technology. You know? So I think the focus need to be, like I said earlier, we need to focus on technology which would help us use resources efficiently in the future.
On a long-term basis.
On a long-term basis, even at the village or at the rural or
All areas.
all areas. So I hope that this budget will enable us, and I'm sure if this budget is used efficiently, it can achieve that level.
Exactly, 5 billion ringgit for green tech, and then earlier on 1.4 billion for non-revenue water program. And other than that, under the sustainable development issues, we have construction of river storage, 1.3 billion. So maybe you could share with us what is actually off-river storage.
Off-river storage is a solution to solve the water supply problems. So you have water storages which is not coming from the river. This is what I call an ad hoc solution, because we have a critical water supply problem. This is required especially in dry seasons. We hope that this allocation would be efficiently used to establish or to build or to construct of water storages, of river water supply, and delivered to the people in need. But like I said just now, this is an ad hoc solution. The budget is very instrumental to solve the problems. At the same time, we need to also focus on the real problems, like I said, inefficient water management, inefficient water consumption by the users, be they the individuals or the industries. Now, if we have this attitude of good water behavior, good water management, then we might not even need this.
Exactly.
Because it means that you're going to use a lot of space. And space is very, very expensive, especially in water critical areas. So if you use that area, which could be otherwise used for other more beneficial uses, then I think it's something that we have to focus upon.
And again, it's all about education, awareness, and the responsibility for every one of us.
Correct.
Exactly. Alrighty, for those of you who just tuned in, welcome to Traxx Momentum. We are having a special interview focusing on post-budget 2018 for Traxx EcoBus. And today I have Mr. Amlir Ayat, the Malaysia Water Partnership MyWP Water Security Seminar Organizing Committee and Vice President of EcoKnights, talking about water management and flood mitigation. And we're gonna go through more on flood mitigation next. But first, what about if you take a short break for a while? Don't go anywhere. This is Traxx FM.
All the music, news and information, Traxx FM.
Somebody call 911.
spending a lot of money to reduce flood when the real problems or the root causes are not being taken care of.
Again, the root causes need
Yes,
to be
the root
tackled.
causes, yes. I
see.
think Malaysia still needs a lot to learn about tackling the root issues. Like I said, education
Again, yes.
could solve a lot of problems in the long run. So we have to allocate a lot of energy and also resources, be they the financial resources or the human resources, to achieve a good education where at the end of the day people will be able to make their own decision towards betterment of the society and achieve again sustainable development.
I see. And then talking about that, I want to know what is MyWP future plan? Maybe go on ground to educate public. We have road shows, things like that.
Okay, we organize seminars and also education projects at the community and at school levels. Like with many other NGOs, we also have our challenges in terms of financial resources. So we need financial resources to enable us to improve our educational educational activities and also other activities that we are planning. On the November 21st, we're going to have a seminar on water security.
For everyone, for the public.
For everyone, for the public. You can check check with the Malaysian Water Partnership, and if there, I'm not sure whether there is any space left for the participation.
Limited slot. Okay?
Yeah, it's very limited slot because we realize the reality that not a lot of people are really into water security issues. But this seminar right now we have quite good attendance from the government agencies and also from the private sectors.
Overwhelming response.
Sorry?
Overwhelming response.
Yeah,
yes.
quite overwhelming response. So we hope that we'll be able to look for new ideas because the focus of the seminar is on innovation and creativity in ensuring water security in the country.
I see. So where can we know more about the MyWP activities? Maybe you could share the Facebook page or website.
There is a website right now, but it's still under construction.
Okay.
So, but I hope it will be constructed as soon as possible. But you can contact MyWP at the JPS, the Department of Irrigation and Drainage Ampang office. Whose number I'm so sorry I cannot recall the number.
Google.
Yes.
Can simply Google.
Yes. So if you want to know more about the activities and what is MyWP, you can call that number.
I see. Okay. And then, yes, we will check and make that number available on our Facebook page later on. But yes, Mr. Amlir, finally, maybe after we have discussed about water management and flood mitigation, so anything else that you would like to share to the public before we wrap up the show for today?
Okay, first, education is very important. We need to invest a lot on that. Education is a long-term investment. When you have invested, let's say, a certain amount of money to really improve the understanding and the information dissemination process amongst the people, amongst the public, especially amongst the youth, in about 30 or 20 years, if you do really well, then you can have a society which is mentally advanced. Okay, a first world, first class society who can make decisions and make good decisions about sustainable development. And secondly, water is very important. Water is very important, and it should be the guiding parameter in terms of managing other resources. If you take water and use it as a guide, you can reduce not only manage water sustainably, but also other resources, including energy.
I see.
Water footprint is very important. For me, it's more important than energy footprint. Carbon footprint.
Carbon
sorry.
footprint.
Yes.
Okay, I like what you said just now. First class mentality with first class facilities.
Yes.
Because we want first class facility, but ask ourselves, do we have that first class mentality?
I can answer that. I mean, you keep seeing people throwing out rubbish out of the car, so I'm not sure whether
That's why we want like first class facility, but ask ourselves, do we have that first class mentality as well? And yes, once again, education is the key for every single aspect. And yes, there you go, Mr. Amlir Ayat, our Malaysia Water Partnership MyWP Water Security Seminar Organizing Committee and Vice President of EcoKnights, talking about water management and flood mitigation. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
Amlir.
Balkis. Thank you, Traxx.
Thank you so much for the fruitful discussion on water management and flood mitigation. And also thank you to our Facebook live viewers. Thank you so much for joining our discussion on Facebook. And yes, once again, that was our Traxx EcoBus special interview. As usual, every Tuesday we are having this special interview focusing on environmental issue. Okay, 11:51 on the clock. Up next, we have the news at 12. Don't go anywhere. This is Traxx FM.
Infotainment with heart.
Traxx FM.